What is up, everybody? This is That Brown Bat back for another session of Mod Messin tutorials, or the Disney Infinity Mod Messin Masterclass, whatever you want to call it. But today is going to be another game changer. That's right. All right. So in the past, you've seen me swap out characters within their character file and pretty much just using the character that we want and putting parts of that in there and renaming the OCT file and pretty much being able to swap out an existing character, but never able to give another character somebody else's animations. Now today, I'm going to show you how to do that. And I'm also, it's going to be, it's like I'm going to hit two birds with one stone. We're going to use a character that exists in the files, but doesn't exist as an existing character. So we're going to use Zurg. All right. So I'm not all familiar with Toy Box or with Toy Story. I've seen the first movie and clips of all the other ones. I never played Toy Story in space, but I've seen clips of it. Anyway, I'm not 100% sure what Zurg's motions are. I read on Wikipedia that he can fly, and I know he has that big gun. Now, the big gun does exist in the files, but we're not going to deal with the gun, maybe in a different episode. So what we're going to do, we're going to set him up as a playable character. And if we have time, we'll also set him up as a boss character as well. But even if we run out of time in that and don't get to that, you will know how to do that. You'll just have to select a blockhead to replace him with. Anyway, first and foremost, what you have to do is get another program. And that program is Python. Now, you don't have to learn how to use Python, but you do need it on your computer. So what you do, you go to downloads. The newest version of Python is Python 3.12.2. So if I click on that, I'm going to save it to my desktop. I believe it's already there. It's already there. Do I want to replace it? Why not? Let's waste some download speed. That costs money. For me, it does. Anyway, I got 6 days before it resets anyway, so I should be good. So once it's installed, you go to where you installed it, or not installed. You go to where you downloaded it, and then you install it. All right. I already have it installed, but this is what you're going to do. You're going to want to go to Customize Installation. You're going to want to make sure all that stuff's clicked. Definitely you want PIP. You have to have PIP. Otherwise, the program that we're going to get after this isn't going to work. All right. So you need PIP to get the other program installed, which is a Python-based program. So you just next. And I only had these top three selected, but you can select them all. But I had associate, that's a big one, associate with Python, create shortcuts, and add Python to environment variables. And then make sure it's going to go in the directory that you want it to if you don't want it to go into the default directory. And then you install it. Okay? I'm going to cancel. I already have it on there. From that point, you're going to use the command prompt, which we've used in the last few episodes. And it's right there, but you just go to your search and CMD should bring it up. Everybody has command prompt. All right, but we're not done. All right, so open up a internet browser. And you're going to want to go to gamebanana.com/tools/13856. All right. Link should be in the description, but it's going to take you to the page for TKFRvision's Cars 2 main tools. So this program allowed people to mod Disney Infinity and Cars 2, the game. Okay. So it is necessary for decoding and encoding the OCT files, the bent files, and the MER files. Okay. Now, we are going to deal with the bent files. The bent files are the files that house the animation script for the character. The OCT file houses the character's model information. I don't know what the MER files do. I've never heard of anybody modding a MER file. Apparently in Cars 2 that's a thing. But we're not going to touch the OCT. We're going to concentrate on the bent file. And this tells you how to install C2DI tools. So when you're on this website, you're going to open it. It says open a terminal in pip or Python, right? Well, you can just use command prompt. And you're going to type in this. I'm just going to copy it, right? And I already did this, but it's not going to hurt me to do it again. So I'm going to copy all of that. Make sure I'm not copying any extra spaces. I'm going to paste that right there and hit enter. So it's going to go to that website given, and it's installing all the stuff needed to work for Python. And of course, mine says it's already satisfied because I already did it. All right, next thing. There's other information on here on what to do and how to do it, but I'm only focusing on one particular element of it, and that is how to decode the bent file and to re-encode it. Okay, so remember that DI folder that we had, the DI tools? We're going to make a new folder, and I'm going to call this one Cars 2. Okay, and I'm going to put in the description or the pinned comment, one of the two, the code that you're going to need. I just called it Python instructions. So what you do, you're going to take that information that I put in there and copy it to a notepad. And then you're going to keep it in there, and that's going to be your reference point for everything. Okay? So what you're going to do, this is going to be a similar thing to Unlewis C, but there's going to be an extra step because we have to put it back together once we decrypt it. All right. So let's go to our assets folder. All right. Once you're in there, go to the characters. And who are we going to put override Zurg, or who's going to get who is Zurg going to mimic? Now, there's something that him with Baymax actions does that it's not going to get the video flagged, but I don't want young people to see what he does. But it's not my fault that Zurg, using Baymax's actions, does a certain thing. Anyway, how about we use Boba Fett? With Boba Fett, would you be okay if I use Boba Fett? We could use Vader, but just for the voice, but maybe. I don't know. I've seen somebody else do that, but they did it a totally different way. So let's just use Boba Fett. You can use whoever you want, but I'm going to use Boba Fett. And Boba Fett is in the folder EMP_Boba Fett. All right, so once you're in there, you're going to want to extract. You can extract it all, but specifically what we want to extract is the main Boba Fett.zip. So what I'm going to do, and I know this is going to double the size of all the files eventually because I'm making backups and backups and backups. Just remember you're making backups. So if you ever want to zip this and give it to somebody else, once you're done with the you might want to clean up some files that you're no longer using because it'll double and triple in size, and it makes it very big. So with all the backups. But anyway, I digress. So we're going to make a backup of all the zip folders. And really, do I need to? No, it's just easily accessible because I already have this backed up in multiple places anyway. but it's just easily accessible if I ever need to go right to it. It will eat up your space, so maybe it's not a good idea to do that. I don't know. Do it as you need it. So I have just the main one as backup. Anyway, you can also rename that, but don't rename it yet because we have to unzip it. So select the address and copy it, and we're going to go back to our DI tools. And we're going to go to Quick BMS and again put the Disney Infinity BMS over the Quick BMS exe, paste the address in the address bar, and then select emp_bobafett.zip because that's where the files are that we're going to need, and save it. Okay. Now, we're not swapping him out for anybody. We only need one file in there because we're not modding Boba Fett. We're modding Zurg. Okay, we're creating a Zurg character, so we're going to need the Boba Fett emp_bobafett.bent file. Again, that houses the animation script. So I'm going to copy that. Then I'm going to go to the Cars 2 file that I made, and I'm going to make a folder called WIP, all in caps. That stands for work in progress. You can name it whatever you want. I'm going to paste that bent file in there. Now I'm also going to go back. Now, because we have this folder, I'm not using it right now, and we have that as a zip. You can delete that. But if you're ever going to mod Boba Fett later on, you're still going to have to unzip that. I don't know, whatever your preference is. But anyway, it's not going to be read. So don't worry about extracting these because we're not modding Boba Fett. So it's still going to read off these zip files. So I'm just going to put that in the BK folder for right now, just to get it out of the way. Now, we're also going to need TS_Zurg. All right. We're going to need stuff that's in there. So we're not going to need hollow. We're going to need to extract this. So I'm also going to make a backup in here, BK. And I'm going to put a copy of this in the backup. I'm going to copy the address bar. I'm going to go back to Quick BMS. I'm going to do the same thing that I just did for Boba Fett. Paste the address in the address bar and only extract from this particular one, the main one, the TS_Zurg zip. Save. All right. I'm going to go back there. Now, we're going to need his files. So I already backed this up, so I'm going to delete that. There's already the zip file in the back in case something gets messed up. So I'm going to open up his Zurg file. I'm going to copy everything in there and paste it right here. That Zurg file should be empty, or folder I should say is empty, so I'm going to delete that. All the textures need to be taken and moved into the textures folder. So really, we could just move the entire textures folder right into assets, and it'll move it into the textures folder. It'll merge with it. Well, not the characters folder, the assets folder. So you can individually put them in there, or you can just paste them in there like that, and that'll merge it. All right, so now they're open. And that should work. If that doesn't work, then we need to extract all these in here. You know what? We're going to do that anyway. You know why? Because later on, we're going to replace texture files. So there's 258 or something like that zip files in here. We need to extract all of them. All of them. You hear me say all of them? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to undo move for those Zurg files just to get them out of the way, and we'll put them back in here later on. I totally forgot about this. All right, so I'm going to take that address, copy it, go back to QuickBMS, put the address on the top, and everything should be a zip file in here. It is. Everything is. So I'm going to do a Control A, open, and save. And this is probably going to be the most extensive work that QuickBMS is ever going to do for you. All right, make sure the bottom of it says press enter or close the window to quit, because it pauses throughout and you don't want to jump the gun and stop it before it's done. Okay, so make sure you got that message in the bottom, and then and that way you'll know when it's officially done. Okay, now we have all these folders extracted from those zip files. So now what you want to do is you want to go up to the search bar in your folder and type in .tbody and wait for the search to finish. All right, and there should be about, if not exactly, 18,300 items. T-body are the texture. That's the texture extension. So I'm going to Control A, Control X to cut every single one of those. I'm going to go back and I'm going to drop them right open in the textures folder. Control V. So basically we're taking all the textures out of each individual folder and pasting them all lumped into the texture file folder. And wait until it's done, because there's so many of them. Okay, now once that's done, click somewhere on the screen and hit F5 to refresh, to reorder all the stuff. And what you're going to do, I got to wait. I'm trying to highlight one of the folders. My computer's not done. There we go. Now I can click F5 to refresh. I mean, I did before, but I'm going to hit it again. I thought it said it was done. My computer wasn't ready. And now I'm selecting every one of these folders. Yeah, so I'm going to highlight all the folders, and then I'm going to deal with the zip files. The textures one is not empty, but all the ones with the letters, I'm going to right click in properties. I wanted to make sure that there's nothing in them. So all 0 bytes, size, nothing. All right, so I'm going to delete every single one of those folders. All right, that took a while. Now that's done. I'm going to order by type here. So I'm going to highlight all these zip files. All right, now we have the textures folder. Now guess what? Everything out of there comes out. So I'm going to take everything in this folder and move it out here. Now that textures folder should be empty. And we no longer need that texture zip. So I'm going to delete both of those. All right. Organized by name. That's just how I have it. Most of my folders anyway. Now we're done. Again, you have backups if you need them. All right. Back to the assets folder. Characters. TS_Zurg. Go back in there. Now you can take those textures or move the entire folder, however you want to do it. Go back, and paste it. All right, now they're in the textures folder. All right, now the characters file. We're going to have to take all the characters out of here, all these character folders. So Control A, or just take the character folder, Control X, and go back into assets and paste the characters folder. And it's just going to merge with the characters folder. If it asks you to replace, say no. But this early in the game, seems how this is the first time we've ever unzipped a character. There's not going to be any prompt. Back to TS Zurg. All right, motions. Leave it alone. Now we have all these things that we're going to need, but what we're going to do is we're going to change that bent file. So I want to put the bent file in the backup just in case I mess it up. copy that bent file and put it where you put the Boba Fett one, or whoever you're going to use to change or to use as framework for Zurg. All right, open cars 2, that's where I put them in, and whip. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we need those notes that I told you to copy. Okay. Go back to the whip folder and copy the address bar for your whip folder. And just like on the Unlewis C, we're going to do the similar thing. We're going to type CD space and then paste the address, hit enter. Now we are in the place where we need to be. Okay, go to your Python instructions, and we want the one that says DEC because that stands for Decrypt. The other one is ENC, which stands for Encrypt. Encrypt means to code it again. All right. So we are going to just take everything after where it says OCT. What is OCT? This stuff right here is the old folder that I used to have. So don't worry about that. I mean, delete it if you want. I'm going to delete it to make it easier for you to understand and for me to teach. So you want to take this, right? The top one. Then we're going to paste it right in there. Don't hit enter. Don't hit enter because see where it says bent file name? XML file name? Right there. All right. DEC. I should have made this even easier. Let's slim this down and make this easier for everybody. You're going to copy that, the top one. You're going to put it there. Okay. Now you just have that. It ends at DEC. I'm going to pick. You're going to have to do both of them. The entire file name, including the .bent. And then you're going to hit space, paste. Space, paste. Then .xml. Now you can hit enter. All right, now what that did is it made an XML file that you can now open with what? Well, I'm going to use Notepad. You can use Notepad++. You can use whatever program that you feel comfortable with, just as long as it's something that is geared for what we're doing. Notepad is the bare bones basic stuff. But there's other programs you can use if you're comfortable using them. If you don't know of any other tools, use Notepad. That's what I'm using. All right, we're going to do that again with the Zurg file. So copy the entire thing. Now what you're going to do right here, see how after you hit enter, it reverts back to the file or the folder that you're in. So I'm just going to hit my right button, and it's just going to populate the same thing that I just had in there. But I don't want the Boba Fett stuff. So after that DEC, remember, you're going to hit a space or leave a space. Then you're going to paste the file name, hit space again, paste the file name. And I'm using Control V. And then that next file name, you're going to hit .xml to make it an XML file. There we go. Now we have 2 XML files that we're going to open both of them up with a Notepad. The one we're going to actually mod is the Zurg one. So let's do Boba Fett first. Open with Notepad. And what I'm going to do is come down, just press down button. See where it says channels? Go all the way to the left of that. All right. And then what you're going to do is select everything down. And my finger's on shift, right? So I don't know if you know keyboard shortcuts. So if I'm right here, I'm going to hold shift down, hit control, end. And that takes me down to the end of what I need. And I'm going to hit copy. I'm going to close it. Then I'm going to open zurg.bent.xml and open that with Notepad. And then I'm going to go down, put my cursor down to the far left of channels, hold down Shift, Control, End. Then I'm going to hit Control V to override all that, and then Control S to save. Now, I tried this bringing over 1.0 and 2.0 stuff, and they have a different naming convention. It won't work. I really wanted to get some of the, I wanted to get Ferb and the Dr. Doofenshmirtz, and I still don't know how to do it. I don't know. But anyway, now we have that. I'm going to close that. Now what we want to do is take this Zurg.bent, because we changed that. We're going to take the XML name. Well, first let me copy this. All right, so right after, so on your command prompt, you have where it defaulted back to the folder. So I'm going to hit Control V, and it's going to say the same thing except ENC at the bottom instead of DEC, or at the end. So now I want to take the Zurg.xml, hit space, paste that in there, hit space, paste that in there, and back out the XML. So now it's going to revert to the bent. So I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to override that bent file. So look at that. The bent file currently is at 28 kilobytes. I'm going to hit enter. Now it's at 76. So I'm going to take that. I'm just going to copy it, right? I'm going to go over to the TS Zurg folder, Control V. All right. Now we have an issue. And that issue is, regardless of what we do in the game, Zurg's not in the menu. So we can't do anything with Zurg until we make him a character. So we have to do some more customization. So characters need DNX files. And because we replaced them all with Boba Fett stuff, we're going to need Boba Fett's DNX file. So Boba Fett is EMP_Boba Fett. And we want the DNX file. Oh, but that is encrypted. So we're going to copy that. And now we're going to go to the Unluacy, paste them in there, and we are going to open up our code. First things first, though, we're going to get our address, go back to the command prompt, and to get back to where we want, can I just say CD space? Look at that. Now we're in the Unluacy folder. Now let's go to our, did I open my code yet? Yes. All right. We want our Boba Fett DNX file. We want to go to the code and replace that where it says blank. And copy that line. Go back to our command prompt. Paste. Enter. All right. Now we have it called ZZZ, and we're going to do the same thing we've been doing. Now there's our new ZZZ and our new DNX file. I'm going to put it in the backup and then copy it from there, replace it. All right, so now we have a decrypted Boba Fett. Then we're going to copy the decrypted Boba Fett, paste it, and we're going to call that TS_Zurg, because he had no DNX file. He didn't need one because he didn't exist before. Now we have Zurg file. So now we're going to do some modifications in there. A lot? No. All right. So actor tag, you can change that to player Zurg if you want. You could leave it Boba Fett. You can do whatever you want. I'm going to just say Zurg because it doesn't mean anything except for reference. And the only thing I'm going to replace are a couple things. Search for piece file. And we're going to look to see in the character folder, TS Zurg, does he have a piece file? He doesn't have pieces. So if you want, you can have him become Boba Fett. But I'm going to say TS_Zurg for both. So more than likely, nothing's going to show up when he breaks, but that's fine. That's fine because he doesn't have piece files. And I'm going to Control F and type for model name. And we're going to type in the model name here, and that is TS Zurg and TS Zurg. TS Zurg is the folder. TS Zurg is the name of the OCT. You don't need the extension in there. Just do it like that. All right. He doesn't have eyes, so we don't have to worry about eyes. If you want to change the audio, this is where we get into some fun things. So if we want him to sound like Vader, you have to have Vader's information on the dialogue ID and here. That's fine, right? Except for the fact is the weapons are in a different sound file than the voice. So you can either have a different voice or weapons. What I do is I just replace the dialogue ID with NA, so he doesn't have any audio when he speaks. You'll only hear the sound effects of the weapons. That's just me, okay? Now, we'll get into the bells and whistles later on. I'm guessing Zurg has shields, but I can't put shield. I can put a shield thing in here, but it won't give him shields, even though I can register. It only works for the NPCs for some reason, doing it through the DNX file. So shields are out of the equation. We can give him a health factor, a healing factor, I mean, and we can cause it so he doesn't get any knockback. But we can do all that later. Those I call bells and whistles. So the next thing to do is we have to go to our favorite file under assets, GameDB. Oh, that's right. You know what? This is where I like to get a separate folder out, or a separate instance of my assets. GameDB and core. And we need Toybox actors for one. And we've already unzipped this or undecrypted this episodes ago. So we're good to go. And the DNX file for Zurg should be ts_Zurg right there. Yep. So we're going to copy that, the whole thing. But what are we going to do? Where are we going to put it? Okay. So we have some characters that we can replace. Take your pick. I'm going to give you some typical ones that modders are okay with replacing, because adding new characters outside of what we put in last episode, there's only 2 people that know how to do that, and I don't have contact with them. So you have Crystal Sully, Crystal Lightning McQueen, Crystal Agent P, Crystal, yeah. Let me just count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 crystal characters plus 1 glow-in-the-dark Buzz. So there's 9 characters that really, who wants? Nobody uses them, right? So take your pick. And also, if you don't like any of the other characters, you can get rid of them too, or replace them. So that's all up to you. So I am going to get rid of Crystal Buzz. So now we have to find Crystal Buzz. He's not called Crystal Buzz. He's called AV Buzz Infinite or something like that. So let's Control F and look for AV_Buzz. That's Buzz Glow. Buzz Infinite right there. So the file for Buzz Infinite's right here. And what we're going to do is replace the DNX. So right where it says ts_Buzz Infinite.dnex, we're going to replace everything over unto, but not including the semicolon. And we're going to place that with ts_Zurg.dnex. Okay, now he's going to load that file. We have one more thing that we need to do. Actually, a couple, but for the main thing, we're just going to do one more thing. Open up back to the core and Toybox data map. Because we replaced him with Boba Fett, we're going to want to mimic the Boba Fett moveset. So Control F for find and put your exclamation points or exclamation marks, and in between them type in EMP underscore Boba Fett. Okay. Now all of his information from the L4 all the way down to where it ends, and he's right above the Blockhead Avengers cop. So I'm going to copy all the information. I'm going to go back home, Control F, and we want to find AV Buzz Infinite. So AV underscore Buzz. It's Buzz Glow. Here he is. So all the Buzz Infinite stuff. You got 4-1 all the way down. It's right to, but not including TCW, Coruscant, Alien Mail to 2MG. So not including that mission giver. Okay, and you're going to Control V, override it. Now to double check, I'm going to hit Control Z and Control Z again. And we have Boba Fett stuff. Okay, now that's all the base stuff, not including bells and whistles. So now we're safe to check it.
I bring you greetings
all right.
from the kingdom of Wakanda.
Collection. And I'm going to go to Disney and find Crystal Buzz. Is this the one? Nope, that's glow in the dark. It's the middle one. Okay. Voila. There's Zurg. That looks funny with that. Oh, I don't have his jetpack.
That was a mistake. Excellent to see you here. This is far from diplomatic.
And that same process can be done with anyone. So you could have a alternate Luke, alternate Han, alternate anybody. We can do the Emperor. But anyway, you got your Zurg.
Excellent to see you here.
You're not impressing me.
Oh, that's right. Nobody can beat Luke. All right, let's give him some health regen and some knockback resistance. All right, so back to your DNX file and Control F, search for health. And we're going to do like we did with Anakin in episode 1. Zurg's a boss. Regen delay, I'm going to say 0. And I'm going to say rate 2. And I'm going to go down to hierarchy And default avatar, I want to put a 0 after that, so you can't knock me back. So maybe he should have more regen. I don't know how tough Zurg is. Do we want to make him bigger? I know in some games he's super huge. And then in Toy Story, he was the same size, maybe a little bit bigger than Buzz. So, I guess. I don't know the lore behind the whole thing. Anyway, I'm just going to hit save. And that should be about it, unless we want to give him more health regen. And, yeah. Play. Well, that's it. I don't have anything else to show you until I find out how to remove those icons. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And there's more to come. So remember to hit that like button, subscribe, and do all that good stuff. So until next time, remember to keep on modding, to keep on messing, and to keep on building.
Mod, Messin, mod.